When we're doing a full body workout, sometimes it's kind of cool if we can do more than one movement at the same time, right? If you're using dumbbells or barbells, that's often hard to do. Like, I couldn't imagine being in a seated cable row machine, rowing, dropping the cables, grabbing a set of dumbbells, curling, putting the dumbbells down, grabbing the cables and rowing, etc., etc. But the cool thing is, using my body weight and a TRX suspension trainer, I can actually do that. Here's what it looks like. It's a row and a curl, okay? Now, I was doing a neutral grip row. Your trainer may assign you a prone or a wider grip row or a curl grip row. So you can imagine doing a curling rowing motion and then a curling motion. That's heavy, heavy, heavy on the biceps. Not a bad idea necessarily though, because on the first one, the lats are supporting the movement. The biceps probably won't pre-exhaust. And then you can post-exhaust them with a curl. It's a heck of a trick for building your biceps, okay? So your trainer will indicate to you which position to use. Wide grip, prone, neutral grip, medium, close grip, curl, okay? Or supine, facing the ceiling. So what was I doing here? Well, first thing, always, when I'm using a TRX or doing any exercise, I have a tight core, straight spine, so my shoulder blades are pulled together a bit and my head is looking straight forward, okay? And I stay in that position through the full range of motion as I'm pulling myself up. Try not to tip your head forward as you're doing this. Keep your spine neutral, all right? Now, for the pulling portion, for the row, okay, they're both pulls, but for the row, I have to make a distinction. Both my shoulder joint and my elbows are moving. I'm pulling up and I'm pulling my hands into my body, okay? But for the second motion, I'm rotating my hands up and I'm keeping my elbows high. My upper arms are parallel to the ground and they stay that way. So my shoulders actually don't participate in this. Just my elbows that bend. Okay? So shoulders and elbows, just elbows. Shoulders and elbows, just elbows. Okay? It's a hard thing. I see a lot of people struggling on the second pull. They want to pull those elbows down, and that's natural because you want to get the lats working. You know, what we're working here is a complex system of muscles, basically the lats, the biceps, the rear deltoid, back of the shoulder muscles, your rhomboids in between your shoulder blades, and your trapezius, which take up most of your upper back. Right? All of these are working, and your body's efficient. It wants to work together, right? It wants them all to work together. So they are on the first pull when you're using your shoulders, but they aren't here. So you really got to focus on keeping those arms up. That means that you're going to have to choose an angle that works for both exercises. So I'm going to recommend choosing maybe a bit of a steeper angle for this pull. Step back and curl. Step forward, row, step back, curl. Row, curl. Now, resist the urge to lose your posture here, because if you tip your head forward, your curl is going to be less. You're not working as hard, right? It's also not good for your neck. So as you're doing this exercise, you want to be keeping that core tight. You do not want to sway at the hips, okay? You don't want to sag as you come up. You don't want to over come up like this either, okay? Nice and straight. And that's why I like to be on my heels, actually, if I can. Sorry, that one wasn't that good. Let's do that again. All right, that's good, okay? So I go on my heels for the pull. I go on my heels for the curl. Why? Because if I'm on my feet, I might bend around my knees. See how I'm bending around my knees? Now the movement's easier, because I've just shortened the length of the lever and I've made it easier. So you breathe out as you pull up and in, as you reload, out, in. Okay? So in the pull phase, which is the exertion phase, you breathe out. One last thing. When you're rowing, the proper motion is your shoulder blades go first, your elbow moves or your shoulder moves, and then your elbow moves. And the reverse is true in the opposite, the elbow, shoulder blades relax. But don't think about that. I just want to point out to you that that's the proper rhythm, and if your trainer's doing a proper assessment on you up front, he will look for that rhythm, that motion, and make sure that it's being taken care of properly, it's moving properly. In this case, all I want you to think about as you row is squeezing those shoulder blades and then slowly letting them go. Squeeze and pull fast, slowly let them go. Squeeze and pull fast, slowly let them go, but don't shrug the shoulders, okay? So squeeze and pull fast, slowly let them go, and then curl. You don't have to squeeze the shoulder blades on the curl, but you do on the row, don't on the curl, okay? So a TRX Row-to-Curl. If you want to make the exercise harder, it's too easy for you, increase the angle, okay? The row's harder, the curl's harder. It'd be almost impossible for me to curl here, actually, okay? If you want to make it easier, you stand up more vertical. Okay, that's the cool thing, right in the middle of the set, you make it easier or harder. You saw how I was making it harder by walking forward for the row, easier stepping backward for the curl, then I was stepping back forward for the row. Okay, once you're comfortable enough moving back and forth, you can try that.